What's up, guys? Welcome to Broke Boys Manifesto. Today we are going to be showing you how to properly lubricate your Glock 19, Glock 44, Glock 17, and Glock 43x. If you have a different kind of Glock firearm, this tutorial will work perfectly fine for you because pretty much every Glock firearm is lubricated identically. So for this tutorial today, guys, I'm going to be using my MR920 made by Shadow Systems. This is pretty much just a Gucci Glock 19, so don't be weirded out by the gun. It is identical to your Glock 19, especially with lubricating. Just like all these other firearms. That's a P80 build, and that's a P80 build. It's the same thing as a Glock 17. That's a Glock 44, and that's a Glock 43x. All these guns are lubricated identically, and no one wants to hear me talk anymore, so let's get to the tutorial. So first off today, guys, I'm going to be showing you how to lubricate your barrel. So Glock recommends just covering your entire barrel in a thin coating of lube. So I just put a couple drops here and there, and then I kind of just smear it in with my hand. And you don't want this to be an excessive amount of lube. I mean, you want this to be a thin coating, like they say. Sometimes if you add too much lube to things, you're just giving pretty much a spot for debris and dirt and stuff to stick to. So sometimes with lube, less is better than more. I kind of just give it a thin coating. You see my barrel's shiny. There's not really any reason to see, lube piling up places. You can see that my barrel wears right there, and that stretches all the way to there. And then if you fire a gun a lot, you're going to notice right here is going to wear a lot on your barrel, especially if a Glock. And then down in here is your locking block channel. So that will pivot inside your gun. So you want to make sure you're getting lube inside that area too. Just make sure this entire outer surface of your barrel is covered in a thin coating of lube. And that's pretty much how you do your barrel. Glock does recommend, if you're going to be storing your gun for, I don't know, an excessive period of time, they recommend putting a little lube on the inside of your barrel and covering it. That's just to preserve the barrel for longer so it doesn't corrode. But yeah, this is pretty much how you lubricate your barrel. And you can see I did a little too much there, so just make sure it's a thin coating. You don't need to get too fucking crazy with it. Just make sure she's lubey. Next, I want to talk about the recoil spring. So the Glock manual actually says that your recoil spring does not need lube. I know a lot of people that are lubricating this, but once again, you might just be adding a spot for dirt and stuff to stick to. So they say you don't need to lube this. If you want to lube it, you'll probably be fine doing that, but just keep in mind that you don't have to. So next, guys, I'm going to be showing you how to properly lube your slide. So there's only 4 places that Glock recommends you lube your slide at. And one of them is going to be right in here. You can see that there's already a small film on that, and that's from me lubing it before, but this area right here, this little shelf, you want to just put 1 drip and then maybe smear that in, just a thin coating of lube. I use a Q-tip. If you guys don't use Q-tips for cleaning your guns, you're probably missing out. I use Q-tips for a lot of things, like in weird places like this, you want to clean something, or in here. A Q-tip fits perfectly, and if you want to lube things and don't get your fingers all fucking dirty, you can put a drip and then use a Q-tip to smear it in. So if you're not using Q-tips to clean your guns, you're probably missing out. So first off, you want to lubricate this shelf here, and this is what actually rubs right here on your barrel. That's why your finish on your barrel is always getting rubbed off pretty much first right there. All my Glocks over here have that wear on them. Any Glock will. So you want to just make sure there's a thin coating of lube here. The next place you want to lube is the inner part right here of your slide. This is what's rubbing on this part of your barrel. You can see my barrel's worn off from here pretty much to there. This is constantly rubbing on there, so you want to make sure there's another thin coating. Maybe just put a drip on a Q-tip, and then just make sure that ring in there has a proper thin coat of lube on it. And then lastly, this is like my 3rd time doing this take, so there's a lot of lube in my channels already, but the next 2 locations is you just want to take a drip and put 1 in that side of your channel, and then 1 on that side of your channel. And this is the channel that, your rail's going to on your frame. So you want to put 1 drip on each of them, and then I also like to use a Q-tip for that and just smear it the whole length of the channel. And yeah, that's how you properly lubricate your slide. Lastly, guys, we're going to be lubricating our frame. And Glock literally only recommends 1 location on this being lubricated. That is going to be where your trigger bar comes back and meets your connector back here. So these are constantly rubbing here. You can see it rubs against it and pushes it down. If you're having issues with your trigger or it feels a little gunky, sometimes just 1 drip right there actually will make your trigger feel 100 times better, a lot smoother, especially on the brake. So that is literally the last location that Glock recommends you lube. Just one drip right in there, and your Glock is properly lubricated. All right, guys, if you found this tutorial to be helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.